name's Shane Osgood. As many of you know, vaping is a new alternative to smoking. Cigarettes and the recently discovered health effects of vaping can be severe. Today we are here to talk with Joelle and Kelly and Kara Barnes from ACAP about vaping devices and the effects on young adults. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Before we begin, can you clarify the new technology surrounding teen vaping?
Yeah, so teen vaping, of course, begins with e-cigarettes or vape pens, really called electronic nicotine delivery systems, or ENDS. And the problem around teen vaping would be not only the aerosol that they're inhaling, but having nicotine and causing very high levels of addiction, but also the fact that the vapor can contain toxins, and those tiny particles are very harmful when breathed in.
Thank you, Joelle.
Thank you.
What percentage of teenagers do you think smoke cigarettes or vape, which seems to be the biggest problem?
So our data is based off of a survey called the Maine Integrated Youth Health Survey, and we refer to it as the MIAS data, and it's given every 2 years. So in 2019, the MIAS survey was conducted, and it told us that 7.1% of high school students have tried regular traditional combustible cigarettes. 28.7% of high school students have tried e-cigarettes. So when you look at those numbers, it's pretty clear that e-cigarettes are much more popular than combustible cigarettes.
Can you tell us the typical path that teenagers take regarding nicotine use, and do flavored pods involved in vaping create a unique problem for the users?
So youth e-cigarette use, typically they cite the reason is because of the flavors. And most of them, according to the MIAS data, did not actually realize that they all almost contain nicotine. So that's the number one reason. Number two would be they have someone, whether a family member or a friend, that offers it to them, so then they try it. Those are the two reasons, the biggest reasons why youth get involved in vaping. The pathway, though, typically leads from there to tobacco use, or if they're already using tobacco, they will also use vaping when they can, so they usually become dual users if they start at all.
What does nicotine do to the brain and the rest of the body? Is the effect same as a cigarette, or is it different?
So nicotine is a stimulant drug, and it's highly, highly addictive. When you inhale it, the nicotine reaches your brain within 8 seconds. Once it gets to your brain, it starts having an effect on the receptors inside your brain that send messages all over your body. The biggest one that nicotine affects include your heart, your respiratory system, cardiovascular. So it affects things like your breathing, your heart rate, your blood pressure. So when you're inhaling that nicotine, all of that is skyrocketed and very high. With e-cigarettes, the nicotine levels, as Joellen mentioned, are much higher. So the impact of that nicotine is much stronger, which is why it's really, really more impactful on the body.
What is your agency doing to combat this crisis?
So our agency is a Aroostook County Action Program, but our program in tobacco prevention is funded by Maine Prevention Services, which is the tobacco settlement money that is used to fund our positions and the education that we do. We provide policy for workplaces, schools, youth serving entities, municipalities. We also provide education. We provide some youth programs. And then we work closely getting out the information from the Maine CDC and other reputable organizations to let people know, like, for instance, early in September, October, November, there were all the deaths from the vaping and what caused that. They really looked at vitamin E acetate as something that was really coating the lungs and causing the lung infections, and that really was very important for not only young people, but adults as well, as they looked at using sometimes vaping as an alternative to quitting smoking. We don't recommend that because there's still a lot of unknowns out there. We have a lot of years on combustible tobacco to understand what causes and effects that tobacco has on our bodies, including cancer. We don't have as much on vaping. We do know, though, that it is harmful and it is not harmless. So that's what we do as prevention people. We try to let everybody learn the most up-to-date information that's out there, and then we do policy work to try to normalize the arena, the environment inside and out, about no smoking, no vaping is the normal for what people should see growing up, not the opposite as when I grew up.
Is there anything you guys would like to add?
I think it's really important for students to understand that even though 28.7% of high school students have tried an e-cigarette, that leaves 70+% that haven't tried it. So by not trying it, by not utilizing e-cigarettes, you are with the majority. So if you haven't tried it, don't start.
Okay. Thanks for coming down to the studio tonight.
Thank you very much for having us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for watching WOWL. Shane Osgood signing off.